Happy St. Patrick's Day! Woo! What a day!
What an entrance.
I tell you, and welcome to episode 15 of this special St. Patrick's Day episode of Poor Decisions. My name's Ronan Collins, or Whiskey for Breakfast.
And my name is Michael Cowman, or The Cowman Show.
Yeah, here, great day St. Patrick's Day, isn't it?
Great day, St. Patrick's Day, our national day.
Our national day. St. Patrick is our national person.
Our patron saint.
Our patron saint.
Yeah, you struggled with that one.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was going to say painting saint.
He might have. He might have. Probably painted everything green.
He did. Well, blue was actually his colour back in the day.
Right.
Because it was, like, blue is actually still the national colour of Ireland, but, like, over time we've just associated it more and more with green.
And the shamrock isn't actually our national symbol.
Yeah, well, why? What is it?
It is, in fact, the harp.
What?
Yeah. And it has to be turned the opposite way to the Guinness one. Or rather, the Guinness one has to be turned the opposite way.
Yeah. Which came first?
I believe. Well, technically Guinness, I suppose.
Probably did.
In the nation state of Ireland. But let's not delve too deeply into that.
But here, Shamrock. Fun fact about a Shamrock.
Go on.
In Asgaeilge, it's Shamrogue, right?
Very good, yeah.
But a Shamrock, folks, the Shamrock is actually a white clover. You've been lying to us.
I don't think that's that fun.
Nah, kind of. If you're a botanist, they'd be like, "Oh, that's great. Love this show."
All the botanists watching.
You never know. And apparently in Mayo, botanists did look at this because people are like, "We need to find like an Irish clove or an Irish shamrock," and they found that people in Mayo, when they had shamrock on, what they thought was shamrock, it was actually wild sorrel.
It was a dandelion. And so, right? Do you have any actual fun facts?
Fun fact. Yeah, fun fact. Where is the shortest St. Patrick's Day parade in the world?
Nina.
Arkansas.
It's
96 feet.
Right.
It's just the shortest.
Okay, that's relatively interesting.
Yeah, I think that's relatively interesting as well. But yeah, Shamrock, the reason it came about with St. Patrick and all is this is how he taught us Christianity as the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Because we're a bit thick. We couldn't understand the concept of a 3-in-1. I would have just gotten chips, rice, and curry sauce.
Nice.
Yeah, 3-in-1 done.
You're the modern day St. Patrick.
I've been called that before.
Have you?
Yeah, just now.
Nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? One thing, and you've probably gotten this when we talk about St. Patrick's Day, we talk about like raving about it and loving St. Patrick's Day. Then there'll always be someone who'll be like, "Do you know he wasn't even Irish?
He was in fact Welsh."
Yeah. We like the Welsh, though.
We like the Welsh. Tom Jones, big fan of his music.
Yeah, he's good. Charlotte Church.
Oh, yeah. Gavin Henson. Charlotte Church, Gavin Henson, yeah.
Nice. We're just going to keep listening. Welsh people. Gareth Bale. Good footballer.
Waste of talent. Love the golf a bit too much.
Apparently he owns a pub in Cardiff as well. I suppose who doesn't? Gary Neville's got the hotels.
And then, so stolen from Wales.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So around, 400 AD, something like that?
Yeah, they must have known he was a keeper for Ireland to steal him.
Yeah, well, and 400 AD, Ireland was a bit lawless at the time. The Roman Empire was kind of breaking down. I think they reckon his parents were probably, something to do with the Roman emperor. So he would have come from a relatively privileged background for 400 AD. And they brought him across to the north part of Ireland.
Yeah, well, it's said that St. Patrick built his first ever church in Downpatrick in County Armagh, which is apparently where he's buried as well.
He's apparently buried in about 6 places in Ireland. Everybody, you get a leg, you get an arm.
You get the big hat. But probably his most famous thing, bar inventing the best day ever, St. Patrick's Day, is he shifted all the snakes out of Ireland. Not kissed them. He got he chased all the snakes out of Ireland.
I think that's more of an allegory. I don't know if
No, I don't think there was crocodiles here. Did I go?
Yeah, no. But yeah, so got rid of all the snakes from Ireland is as the story goes.
Yeah, do you want to know the real fact?
Go on.
So apparently
they were actually Komodo dragons.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the snakes are still here. But no, so it was to do with the Ice Age, and when Ireland, like as a landmass, broke off,
right,
the water was so cold around Ireland because of the glacial water that snakes couldn't actually migrate across, like swim through the water because it was too cold.
Okay. So, and that's why there's no snakes in Ireland?
No, well, St. Patrick got rid of them.
Ah, fair enough. I did once tell a bartender in Texas that Ireland's largest export was snakes.
Is that why we don't have any?
Yeah, because we export them all. We get a fortune for them.
And did that person believe you?
Oh, of course they did.
Unbelievable.
Also told them there was no Wednesdays and we didn't have a Wi-Fi. But the country was rich because we had so much unobtainium that the government paid for everything.
But yeah, so St. Patrick's Day is quite a big day. But you mentioned America because St. Patrick's Day, as the actual standalone day, wasn't invented in Ireland.
It was bigger. It was much bigger among the Irish diaspora and the US particularly.
Yeah, the Americans absolutely love St. Patrick's Day. Like, from my research on this, it said, yeah, I know, it said that the first ever one was like in like 1704 in like modern day Florida.
So they actually found where St. Patrick had put all the snakes and went there.
Yeah, and if you were a snake, where would you go? To the beach?
Yeah, exactly. Nice swampy ground around there in the Everglades and stuff as well. But yeah, it was hundreds of years after that Ireland, it was,
early 20th
century that we started having parades here in Ireland as well.
Yeah, but like Boston, New York are like the famous ones.
Oh, and you said this to me before, like, don't come to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Go to Boston, go to New York, go to Chicago.
I think if for anyone who's coming over to Ireland on St. Patrick's Day, expecting that big St. Patrick's Day thing, we would actually say, don't do that. Actually come All Ireland Day.
Yeah, well, depend on who's playing. You want two teams that haven't been in it for a while. Absolutely,
Yeah.
feral load of fans.
Always good to have Mayo in it because it's the hope that kills them, and they just go for it. But yeah, so Boston, fun fact about Boston St. Patrick's Day, which just came before the New York one, it was set up by the Irish Protestant immigration.
All right.
And it was just their way of celebrating home.
They were the only ones with money and time off.
Yeah, and the crack. I wonder if they did. I've actually never been to Boston for St. Patrick's Day, but I have been to New York for St. Patrick's Day. But the New York St. Patrick's Day was set up by the Irish Catholic immigration.
Right.
As they're almost standing up as a show of force. So it's to show their numbers and their cultural identity because they were being discriminated in New York at the time.
And that's kind of 1700s?
Yeah, 40 something.
Okay. So yeah, okay. And then, I mean, Chicago is the kind of really big one, I think, now as well. They dye the river green is the famous one.
Which is mad.
It can't be great for the environment.
Well, I actually did this on the Google. So it's the same family.
The amount of research this man has done today.
So the same two families have been dyeing the river with a secret recipe for the past 50 years, right? So I was like, how do they dye the river green? And the first thing that popped up was with a sustainable, eco-friendly dye.
And it's always been sustainable and always been eco-friendly.
Aye, the dye with the colour of Shamrock, like wise up. But I'd love to go to Chicago. That would be cool.
Yeah. I think of those, I think Chicago would be class. It just seems to be a bit of a vibe.
But we have a St. Patrick's Day guest for us today, today, and she's the global brand ambassador
for Dublin Liberties Distillery.
Yeah, long-time friend of the show.
Long-time friend of the show and St. Patrick's Day enthusiast.
Loves St. Patrick's Day, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come on in, Steph Shen.
Steph Shen, woo!
Woohoo! Ba, ba, ba.
Well, Steph, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
you should be.
We can see you should be.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of an intro to Steph. Who are you for everybody who doesn't know you out there?
So my name is Stefana Shen. I'm actually the global brand ambassador for the Dublin Liberties Distillery. Woo! And so, whoop, whoop, whoop. So we have brands such as Dubliner, Dead Rabbit, and the Liberties single malt range as well.
Very good.
It's basically the dream job where I get to just be super excited about getting people to drink.
You are that brand ambassador with all that. You know what I mean? You are the dream brand ambassador.
Yeah.
And you've got a distillery bang in the middle of Dublin, which is super cool.
It's incredible. And it used to be a mill. It's like 400 years old. And so there's all these links. You guys have heard about the Great Whiskey Fire.
We have.
Yeah.
You did teach us about it.
I know, it's very exciting.
Seshmas.
Do you know what's really cool? Will I talk about the poo wall? Can I talk about the poo wall?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I know. We talk about the poo wall. Okay, so everybody has heard about the Great Whiskey Fire. Obviously, terrible idea to store highly flammable liquids in the middle of a city. There was a fire, and they were like, oh gosh, if all of these barrels grow up, like the whole city's gone. So the great idea was to smash open a load of barrels and create a flow so it would flow away from the barrels. So they did that, high-fived, and then realized they had sent a river of fire through the city. Okay, so that warehouse had an estimate of like 5,000 barrels, and it was around the corner from our original distillery, which is on Mill Street in Dublin, in the Liberties area. We had the name, so it's easy to find. You go to Dublin, you go to the Liberties, and bam, you're in a distillery. But it stopped outside of the distillery. So not only is the distillery 400 years old and used to be a mill, that's really cool. We have our own water source, which is the same water source they were using in the 1800s. Really, really cool. But the poo wall, right? So the fire could have been way more terrible than it was, but they managed to stop the fire by building a wall, ripping up all the cobblestones, and then jamming the cracks with poo.
No way.
And that was right outside the doors.
Which was just freely available.
I know, readily available. And also animal brains. So there's this weird thing where, like, I've always asked everyone who comes to the distillery, I'm like, are you a blacksmith? Are you excited about blacksmiths? Are they your special interest? So far,
Blacksmiths, to be honest.
no one has said yes. So if you're a blacksmith,
There's
please,
not
send me a
many of them
message.
out there.
I know.
Yeah, I did a
It's
knife making
dying
course
art.
once, and very few blacksmiths out there.
Well, so apparently the thing that they used in like the times of the Great Fire was animal brains. So it was, it's so specific.
So instead of stuffing in blacksmiths in the hole, they stuffed in animal brains.
yeah, animal brains and.
Sorry, where does the blacksmith come into it?
There was a lot of blacksmiths in the area. So like out in the Liberties, it was kind of like considered, it was outside of the original city walls, hence it's been called the Liberties. But it was also where they were like, I don't really like you as an industry, so hoof, you go out the wall.
Okay.
Hoof?
So
Was that like
it was
a-
just
Yeah,
hoof.
very good.
That's the legal technical term.
Okay.
But yeah, so like blacksmiths, tanneries, distilleries, breweries.
Kind of
other
dirty
things.
and, dirty jobs that people got, and that made noise and kind of smelled a little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
but
just
the
stuck 'em
fun
outside
part
the
of
walls.
town, right?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
I do like that part of town.
And it's always where you hide, like the prodigy. It's like in all the movies. They're like, when like the queen is like running away, they're like, oh, hide her in the blacksmith. And, like she wears a hat or, Game of Thrones is what I'm thinking of pretty much.
really didn't know where you're going with that one.
But speaking of heritage and booze heritage, let's drink some green beer, folks. Are you ready for this?
I always say it's not a thing, but apparently it is.
Well, who here has tried green beer before?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
So I never have. So this is
Okay.
the first for me. Have you, Steph?
Never.
So this is from our good friends at the White Hag.
I like that.
Yeah, so this is called
Cool.
the
my gosh, it's very
Serpent
pretty.
Green Pale Ale. So you open that now. So this is distinct gooseberry,
Ooh.
lychee, and peach. Nice.
Oh, nice
and it
tasting
is.
notes.
It is vibrantly green.
Right. Oh, look at that. Nothing says St. Patrick's Day like just popping open a splash of the Emerald Ale. Now, on the back, I've always wondered this. So the ingredients
quite
are
green.
water, hops, and yeast. All right. So they must just be using green water, is it?
Yeah, I'd say so. Filtered through shamrocks. It's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Was it Shamrock's in Buckingham Palace? What's the...
The royal family give a bowl of shamrock to the Irish Guards every St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, sure, that's nice of them, isn't it?
Would have been better if they gave the 6 counties. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Here, look at that. This looks class.
Yeah.
Sláinte.
Tastes good.
Smells great.
They did one before. They did like a cream ale, which was like it looked like nitro green. But this is cool. That's quite good.
Nice. So that there's the White Hag Serpent. So that's what I'll be drinking on St. Patrick's Day, just to feel extra Irish. Because isn't that what you do on St. Patrick's Day? You go over the top Irish. Steph, like, have you ever come across, or like, what are your St. Patrick's Days been like in your life?
So a little bit of background. I obviously went a bit wild with the poo wall and the Liberties, and also I'm definitely going to be fired for my consistent mentions of poo wall. However, I actually, before I dove headfirst into the world of whiskey, I was a bartender. So I was a
That's
bartender.
right. We met when you were a bartender.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. So I was a bartender for over 10 years in Dublin. I worked in a variety of different venues, and my first kind of like real exposure to St. Patrick's Day was working in a nightclub in Temple Bar.
Ooh.
The epicenter. Like if you're a tourist, or you're like Irish American, or you want to come to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, you want to end up in Temple Bar.
Yeah, because every day is St. Patrick's Day in Temple Bar.
Oh, yeah.
Let
Yeah.
alone on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
How was that?
So it was my first ever bar job, and it was absolutely trial by like holistic fire. So it was literally just like, have you worked in a bar before? No. Cool. Well, just like go wild.
Figure it out.
Yeah, just you're fine. So already working in a nightclub is intense. St. Patrick's Day was mental. I remember my first St. Patrick's Day. I
Wall
think
to
it
wall
was
snakes.
like Oh, you just snakes everywhere. But even like, I remember it took me about 20 minutes just to get through one end of Temple Bar to the nightclub.
Yeah.
We worked for like 20 hours and we made like, I think it was like around 100 grand in one day by selling 2 for €10 cocktails.
Oh, wow.
That is an obscene amount of cocktails.
Were you on the floor or were you behind the bar?
No, I was behind the bar.
Okay, so you were making said cocktails.
So they weren't doing table service in a nightclub in Temple Bar, no?
Shocked.
Where do you hang out, mate?
I know.
not Temple Bar.
That's true.
Okay, that sounds hectic. And then, so how long did you work there for?
I was there for about 2 years. I also worked in a couple of other venues in Temple Bar. So I ended up in like kind of higher level cocktail bars. So each year I was in Temple Bar, it got slightly easier to manage because you don't really go to the fancy cocktail bars for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, St. Patrick's Day in Temple Bar, I'm not sure that's where I want to be.
It was so weird because I remember that first day is like burned in my brain. There's all of these crazy wild waves where it's almost like it kind of eases up a little bit and you have a breath and you have like a bite of a sandwich that's like 10 hours old.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's another 50 people and they're just all like climbing on the bar.
And was it like mostly like drunken Irish people, drunken Americans, a mix of all of the above?
What was really interesting was that throughout the course of the day, it actually changed. So like each of the waves felt like a whole new fun wave.
Nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound that fun.
I don't think I've ever seen so much nudity in like those 20 hours.
You really
that I
should have
worked
been in
there.
Belfast at the weekend.
Oh my gosh. I've seen the memes.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
So Temple Bar, so you've been to ground zero essentially
Yes.
for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Any other cool ones?
Like around the world, have you done
Yes.
St. Patrick's Day?
So
Because you're a bit of a global traveller as well.
it's in the job title. But also, I'm actually half Chinese, Malay, and half Irish. So my family are ethnically Chinese, but they emigrated to Malaysia, and that's where they settled. So I've spent a lot of time in Malaysia. My grandparents are there. I have a lot of friends, aunties, uncles. Like, there's so many, we number them. But
And like what my experience from like my girlfriend is half Thai as well, and when you have an auntie, they may not really be your auntie.
Oh, gosh,
it's just
no.
like my aunt, and it's like, are
Yeah.
they related to you? Absolutely not.
What would your number be?
Like a number of aunties?
No. Like, because
Oh, so
Steph was
you-
saying we number them, so I'd obviously be 007.
I'd be number one. I'd be number one.
You wouldn't be number one.
So normally you would get numbered based on where you are in the family structure.
No.
But if you're exceptional, you get a name instead of a number, right? So I remember, and this is terrible, but like one of my aunties is the pretty auntie, right? So my grandmother is one of 15, and one of the children they singled out to be like, you're the pretty one. So the others all have numbers, and then in the middle, there's the pretty auntie. And that's it. That's what you're known as for the rest
Sorry,
of your
hold on.
life.
Is her name the pretty auntie? Or no, she has her own name.
Oh, so fun fact, right? I went to her wedding, okay?
These ones are actually fun.
So I went to her wedding and I would have called her Ame. So Ame means like the beautiful one. So Ame is pretty or beautiful. And so I go to this wedding and I'm obviously like very into my whiskey at this point. So I'm like slobbing away and I'm with my friends. We go in and I don't know if you've ever been to a Southeast Asian wedding,
have
but
not.
they are massive. Like there's tables everywhere. It's a whole production. It's amazing. But I walk in and I'm like hanging out with my friends and suddenly I look up and I'm like, oh shit guys, we're in the wrong room. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I look up and I'm like, well, it says Si Ping, you know, we're here for Ame. And they're like, do you not know? And I was like,
Do you not know your
that
auntie's
we're
name?
in the wrong room? Yeah, no, I didn't know her name. Yeah, didn't know her name. So I walked in and I was like, well, Ame's name is not here. We're in the wrong room. They're like, her name is Siping. I was like, oh, jeepers. Okay.
It must be quite strange though. Imagine you had a niece or nephew who just called you, look at you big ride. You know, all the time.
And what? Does that not happen to you?
It's weird when they're your nieces or nephews, John.
I don't have any, so it doesn't matter. So St. Patrick's Day in Malaysia, have you done any?
Yes. I've had 3 experiences that were all wildly different. So I also never went there with the intention of being there for St. Patrick's Day. I just kind of like go over, spend time with my family, and then suddenly it was like, bam, it's St. Patrick's Day. And as the token Irish person there, they're like, well, obviously you're
Do a dance.
crucial.
Sing a song.
So the first one that I was over there for, I was 17 and I didn't drink before I went to Malaysia. Went to Malaysia and they were like, you drink
Pretty
now.
long flight. That would
That's
be
what
hard.
Yeah, it's like you gotta do what you gotta do. but the options were you can drink beer or you can drink whiskey. And I hadn't drank before, so I tasted the beer and then I tasted the whiskey and went, well, sure, I'm drinking the whiskey. So that just became my thing. So, sorry, I was definitely of legal age when this happened.
We don't care.
The drunken aunt.
Anyway, I have some titles, oh God, sorry. Let me get back on track here. So, I became known as the whiskey person. I was Irish, so I would go to people's houses and they would crack open these bottles they had been
just rock up and be like, hey.
They would just be saving these bottles. So when it was St. Patrick's Day, they were like, you obviously want to drink whiskey. But Irish whiskey wasn't a thing when I was younger. So it was all Scotch. They were like, but you love this because it's whiskey. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue the point now. But like, they would say, it was hilarious because I'd show up at a house. It would be like a random uncle's house or whatever. And they would have these plastic cups that you would typically give to like toddlers in Ireland. But in Malaysia, they're just in your house. And there was no measures. Measures don't exist. It was glug, 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 glug. And then they would all crowd around. And they would just watch me while I sipped it to be like, what does the Irish person think? Because she must be an authority on whiskey.
Oh, right.
And I was like, I started drinking like 2 weeks ago, but this has lovely notes of whiskey.
Any Red Bull?
Yeah, I do always, like, I always say that, you know, as an Irish person, if you are selling whiskey abroad, you could tell them it's made from the blood of unicorns and you'd be fine. You know?
It's not.
Yeah, some
Unicorns
of
don't bleed.
it is. But yeah, and the other side of things, to do the ganbei, like, are you meant to level the
My uncle came to visit. He knew that I was in the place is called Cebu, so he knew I was there. So he went to go visit his friend first, who happened to own a bar. His friend's like, "Have you heard about the white girl?" And he's like, "The white girl?" And he's like, "Yeah, the white girl. Like, this chick is insane. She drinks all of the guys under the table and she's still dancing at the end." And he went, "That is insane." They're like, yeah. We call her Bua Chai. And it's like, it means half veggie. So it's like half Chinese. And he was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." And then he kind of met his friend, had this weird conversation, picked me up and went, "Where do you want to go?" And I was like, "Oh, there's this really cool bar around the corner." And he went, "Oh, you're Bua Chai." And I was like,
you're the white girl.
"Wait, what?" And he's like, "I had a very interesting conversation. I didn't realize it was you." And I was like, so in my defense,
Did you bring shame on your family?
I don't. So in some circles, celebrated.
Yeah.
In other circles, frowned upon.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like a 50-50 split, you know?
Yeah.
50-50.
And Steph, St. Patrick's Day now, what do you do? Like, what are you going to do this year?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
You're ruining the magic that this isn't live, you know?
So once you leave here today,
exactly. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
So it's really weird. So my St. Patrick's Day trajectory has been super intense, crazy busy because I work in bars. And then I've been randomly in Malaysia for certain things. And then as a global brand ambassador, you would imagine that St. Patrick's Day is huge. So I was hired for this role in 2019. I had my first work trip in 2020. I was supposed to be in the US for St. Patrick's Day, and then the whole world stopped. So there I was like, oh no, it's my first St. Patrick's Day as a brand ambassador. I'm in lockdown. Then I was just in lockdown. And then I came out of lockdown and I didn't realize it, but I was in Malaysia again for the first St. Patrick's Day out of lockdown. So this year I actually don't know.
Class.
It's kind of one of those like, I'll just go where I'm needed.
Yeah, somebody will call you.
Yeah.
Jump on this flight.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
In 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Is that not BA life? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Kind of is. Generally, you'd like a bit more structure.
Oh, sure. I thrive in the chaos.
Yeah, well, we
Absolutely.
we can see that. But yeah.
Sorry, I haven't told you about my most interesting St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry, okay.
No, I like it.
Like, obviously, Malaysia, my
Because
first...
those were pretty good.
No, sorry. No. I was doing the build-up. Doing
sorry.
the build-up.
I just cut
Apologies.
you off.
No. Okay, so I'll go with the weirdest one I had. So my first time in Malaysia for St. Patrick's Day, they're obviously like, well, you're Irish, here's a load of scotch. My second time, though, was when I had been working in bars. So I come back to Malaysia and I'm like the bartender.
I know.
Do you know
what's
what I
going
mean?
on.
You know, I'm like, and I'm young and I'm like 22 and I'm obviously very confident. So one of my friends runs a bar and I'm in the bar and I end up in a lock-in and I start talking about, like flair bartending is cool.
Class, yeah.
I'm not a flair bartender, just to clarify. I
when
was
you're
never
drunk.
a flair bartender.
Is it cool?
But
Some people think it is.
Some people think it's good.
I may have had a mild obsession with fire. I was like, I can throw things, but I can't catch them. But I can set stuff on fire. And people love that.
Yeah, Steph, I can see that.
Yeah. So So the weirdest one was basically the owner of the bar was like, you're Irish, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and you're talking about flair and fire. Do you want to do a shift? I was like, absolutely I do. So this is in a town where cocktails are not a thing. Irish whiskey, not a thing. So he was like, I want you to do cocktails. I want you to put on a show and like celebrate being Irish. And I was like, absolutely.
I'll give you a tenner.
But like, I got a list of ingredients. He went off and got them. I walk in the door. As I walk in the door, he's like, 2 Cosmos, please. And I'm like, what? No, that I had specific ingredients for specific drinks. And he was like, can you not make Cosmo with pineapple juice? And I'm like, no, sir. So already I'm off to like a very weird start, but it's fine. I adapt, I overcome, I thrive. The bar gets really full. Everything's getting hectic. And he's like, so the show element? And I'm like, okay, then. Bear in mind, I had been working in Tempo Bar in a nightclub up until this point.
So a show was like someone getting sick on you.
They bring their own fire.
But yeah. Everyone like, please bring your own fire. So I decided, because the way that the bar was designed, it didn't actually have a workable countertop because it was for people to sit
those.
at. They were really, really wide, so I couldn't even reach across the countertop. So I was like, if you want a show, I'm gonna start. So one of the things I used to do is I used to line up shots of definitely not Jägermeister, some kind of herbal liqueur.
Yeah, German herbal liqueur.
Yeah. And then I would kind of like floop them into the glass, and that was your Jäger bomb, right? So this is like step number 1. So I'm like, I'm just going to start off slow. So I can't reach the bar. So I decided I'm going to climb on a fridge.
Nice.
Now, it's one of those fridges where the glass door is on top. So I get up on the fridge and I'm like, if I displace my weight evenly, I won't break the glass. So I'm kneeling on the fridge, and I decide to kneel like this, and I'm leaning over the bar. I do my shots. They do their shots. We do a celebration, and I just fall like 2 feet. So I have fallen through the fridge. So I have to get people to help me climb out of the fridge. I have a scar to this day on my knee of just going floop. Owner didn't care. He's not deterred, so I'm not deterred. And I'm like, let's ramp it up because we're getting busier. People are drinking more. So I'm like, it's time to bring out old reliable. And I had brought a can of lighter fluid.
Nice.
There you go. Fire.
Yeah. So the bar counter was made of marble. And I decided that obviously marble is totally fine to set on fire. I was like, I'm going to set fire to your bar. And he was like, go for it. So I decided I was going to pull up all of my friends onto the bar. So not only was I endangering myself, I decided to endanger everyone else.
Yeah, good.
So
it was good crack.
do you know, right?
for a penny.
I was like, this is what you do for Irish. You got to celebrate. You know, it's about community. This is what St. Patrick's Day is about. And fire. So I set it on fire. And obviously, I don't know if you've ever tried to set marble on fire. It's a little difficult.
Right.
So
Even with lighter fluid.
I may have overused the lighter fluid. So the flames were quite high. Everyone thought this was amazing. So you've got like 4 or 5.
Because they thought you were in control.
Is this
You were
St.
not.
Patrick's Day or the 12th?
I was 22. Okay, so like, I wouldn't trust me now with fire, let alone
we wouldn't.
back then.
I mean, it sounds chaotic. Like.
Thrive on the chaos. So we're all dancing at the bar. The bar's on fire. The owner is like pulling on my leg, being like, there's not enough fire. And I'm like, I'm trying to save your bar, but if you want more fire, let's go. So I take the lighter fluid out of my pocket because fire safety indicates it should be in your pocket. And I'm like dancing on the bar and I'm just squeezing lighter fluid. I'm having the time of my life. I've imbibed because I'm not handling cash, so it's totally okay. They also don't have measures.
the rule?
It's fine. Yeah,
It sounds like the opening scene of Zoolander. You know when they're playing in the filling station.
Yeah, I'm way more scared of Steph now than I was before this interview.
So I'm like having the time of my life. And suddenly there is screaming.
Yeah.
And I look down and one of my friends is like, fire, fire. And I'm like, of course there's fire. And he's like, fire. And more people are screaming. And I turn and look and realize that I had continued to squeeze the lighter fluid. So not only was the whole bar on fire, the fire is just slowly crawling up the lighter fluid. But this is like one of my crowning glory moments. I did a really swift like cut.
Oh, nice.
And there was this moment where like everyone was deathly silent and then they all cheered and I didn't die. So I obviously got off the bar then because I was like, I don't trust myself with the lighter fluid. The owner comes over and slips a 50 in my pocket and went, that was great. Can you do it again? And I was like,
Nice.
I've run out of lighter
It's
fluid.
mad that you have had such a successful career in the drinks industry after that moment.
How many people know that story?
To be fair, there's
no,
at least
not
a dozen now.
Yeah, not many more will know. Steph, Mick has a question for you. He asks
yes.
every single one of our guests, and this is the last question we will give you before you go to the St. Patrick's Day parade.
And
obviously.
I mean, based on the interview so far, I have no idea what's coming here.
Haven't a clue.
Haven't a clue. So room 101. Okay,
Yes.
so we put things in this room, in room 101. We close the door and they're gone forever. So something specifically in the drinks industry
Yeah.
that you would like to get rid of forever, it's gone. We close the door. So what have we had? We've had vapes. We've had people stealing your glassware. We've had what else?
certain
We had?
drinks.
Certain
But
drinks.
yeah,
We've had the term mixologist.
but obviously you're a huge fan of the show, so you've heard them all.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
So what would yours be?
I had to think about this long and hard. And I settled on math.
Math.
Yep.
Yeah.
maths.
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 Maths. Numbers.
Maths.
People call
Sums.
maths. Maths.
Sums.
Yeah.
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 I
yeah.
agree. That should be taken out
Oh
of
my
life.
gosh,
I hate
absolutely.
maths.
Like I was not hired for my numerical capabilities.
Yeah, don't let these glasses fool
on.
you. I hate
Yeah,
maths
okay,
too.
right. So it's because, and this is my entire journey from like bartender to brand ambassador, math has been my greatest enemy. So first and
And
foremost,
fire.
oh no, I was friends with it until I wasn't. Stock
Debatable.
taking, absolutely appalling. If you work in a bar, why do you have to count like bottles, especially bottles when like the glass isn't clear and you're shaking it and you're like, that sounds like it's a 20%er. Like who cares? Terrible. Should be illegal. No more stock takes. Tips, right? Now, right? Gonna get a lot of flack for this. I think tipping is terrible, right? Only on the basis of if you have to make up your wages with tips, that is absolutely shocking and appalling.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody who works in the service industry should have a really enjoyable living wage because I think it's like a vocation. You know, it's something that not everybody can do. You have to be really, really good with people, creative, and it's physically draining. So pay appropriately. I'm not saying ban tips entirely, but like this whole having to do the math.
Customers
and-
shouldn't have to subsidize your wage. Like, no.
Absolutely. If you want to like add on top of that, that's fine, but you should have a living wage. So yeah, boo maths and boo having to work out percentages. And then as a brand ambassador, expenses are where I fail miserably.
Okay, I'm going to give you that one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hate them.
Yeah, so I just thought maths. I was like, not
That's
a fan.
The whole is it a category maths?
Yeah,
Subject?
I mean, the only problem is, right, we're going to lock that in the room. We're going to forget about it. Society may break down without numbers and maths.
yeah.
Sorry, only maths relating to alcohol.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
good.
like-
Not maths relating to money because we love that.
Can I just say, Steph, that was great. I would never, ever hire you to work in a bar if I owned one. I mean, you don't do any stock takes. You set things on fire.
How much whiskey's in that? Liters? I don't know. Loads.
10%. You know?
Oh, she doesn't like percentage. You can't say that. 10.
10 what?
But yeah, thank you very much for coming in today.
On St. Patrick's Day when it's
on
obviously
St. Patrick's Day,
so
obviously.
busy.
Yes.
We hope you have the best St. Patrick's Day ever. We're so glad that we got you to come in because you were here for the live show making cocktails. We're definitely a lot more sober now.
Yeah, but, you know, well, let's see where the night goes.
But yeah, have a great day.
Thank you so
and
much.
Yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Love
Happy
Fela
St.
Podrick.
Patrick's
Laugh
Day.
Fela Podrick, yeah. Cheers. Slàinte. Enjoy your
Slàinte.
green beer.
Thank you.
Courtesy of the White Hag.
Uh-huh.
So, Ro, we always do a snack on the podcast. For Christmas, we did minced pies. St. Patrick's Day, we don't really have a specific designated snack.
Yeah, it's not like we're like, I know it's just food, but we don't do like cabbage and ground
Bacon.
beef and fucking Irish stew. It's not really a thing.
No. So what I've done is I've gone out and I've found something that is St. Patrick's Day themed.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this.
So they're gluten-free.
Well, that's important.
Kyo's crisps, shamrock and sour cream.
Oh, nice.
So delicious, fresh Irish potato crisps, hand-cooked on our family farm.
Deadly.
I mean, you want to open them up? I mean, what does a shamrock taste like? I would say not much, I'd be inclined to say.
I like the way here in the back it said you can trace your crisps back to the field they came from. So these crisps came from Abbeville field.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
The variety of this crisp,
And how did it taste?
Lady Claire.
Go on, get one of them in. So give it a little crunch. So talk me through what you're, and gluten-free, very important. So you're enjoying that crunch. Yeah, there's a good satisfying crunch. Kyo is based in Dublin, I think, aren't they?
I definitely like that.
Yeah.
The sour cream is prominent. I don't actually know what Shamrock tastes like, if I'm honest.
I'd say not a whole lot.
But as crisps go,
They're good.
I think these are a tasty bag.
Now, I do like a sour cream.
Yeah, so do I.
I don't know if there's a massive difference between these and a normal sour cream.
Maybe besides the cow in the front.
And all the shamrocks.
There's a lot of shamrock.
But that's they're very tasty crisp.
But if somebody brought those into the pub on St. Patrick's Day, that would be a great St. Patrick's Day themed snack.
Absolutely.
Instagram would love it.
Instagram is a very hungry mistress, and she loves all these things.
Yeah, so we're happy with Kyo's.
Yeah, and we're not going to put them. We're not going to put them into the pyramid because they're not a consistently available year round kind of thing. So Kyo's Shamrock and sour cream crisps, they get a thumbs up, I guess.
Yeah, tasty.
Yeah, in terms of numbers, you'll have to wait for Agostina.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that was a great wee episode, wasn't it?
That was great. It was chaotic.
It was chaotic.
Kind of like a St. Patrick's Day in Temple Bar.
Yeah. Or
St. Patrick's
in
Day
general.
In general.
Yeah, I think it's always just a wee bit mishmashy, but there's kind of the fun of it. I'll usually spend it with like friends, family. Last year I had a quiet one in the pub, a couple of pints and a couple of whiskies.
Yeah, I'm not a huge one for St. Patrick's Day, to be honest.
No, neither am I. And when it comes to whiskey on St. Patrick's Day, we have the perfect one.
Oh, go on.
It is a naggin.
Well, I mean, a naggin, whether you're going to a match or sitting down the back of Mass on St. Patrick's Day.
Or walking along the parade.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just swigging away.
But yeah, so the naggin.
This is from a company called Redacted.
Redacted, absolutely. Italian wine. This is a 20-year-old.
Okay.
Irish whiskey, right? Let's just do the crack.
Oh,
nice.
Oh. Get rid of it. Get out of here. Yeah.
So
20-year-old.
20-year-old, finished in Italian Barolo, wine, cask strength. And it's the perfect size for St. Patrick's Day. Oh, would you need a glass?
No, why would you? It's a naggin.
Oh.
How do you drink naggins? In a field. Be the neck.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Sláinte. And also, I suppose one of the last St. Patrick's Day traditions people might know is drowning the shamrock.
Okay.
So as we're coming to the end of the show, there we go. As we're coming to the end of the show, it's kind of an American tradition. You take your shamrock off that you'll be wearing for the day. You put it into your glass of whiskey. You finish it. You leave it there. And then you throw it over your left shoulder. Don't really know why for the left shoulder. I think it's something to do with good luck, which is a load
Something to do with salt and the devil and I don't know.
Which is kind of a load of crap. Yeah, but
who cares?
A lot of like devout Catholics, because we're right in the middle of Lent.
Right.
It's their way of breaking their fast. St. Patrick's Day, a lot of people will just break their fast on St. Patrick's Day to drink, eat chocolate, and then by drowning the shamrock, that's their way of being like, right.
But now they can go online and purchase this naggin from redactedbottlers.com.
Well, here, that was a great show.
Yeah, cool, mate. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. What a day.
What we got to do? Go see the parade.
Go see the parade, and then maybe just sing pints, drink some naggin, sing some songs.
Sounds good. So, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, do it.
Hit the subscribe button down there. Thank you very much for joining us for episode 15 of Poor Decisions. And we'll see you next time when we don't know where we'll be.
Yeah, maybe you'll see us in the parade. Come say hi. We'll do a meet and greet, sign some autographs.
Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Bye. Slán.
These are good.
Who's this?